perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rimes.
All right, welcome to the show. Thanks for spending some time with us here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We greatly appreciate everybody that's supporting all of our expert contributors, supporting the real estate company as well by calling in the hotline. You know, we have the hotline set up as a consumer advocate-based program. We don't read the calls live on air like some of the other shows, but we definitely read all the emails and the calls that come in and listen to the calls and voicemails, that is. So we'd love to help you if you're buying, selling, investing, refinancing, if you need an introduction to an attorney, CPA, financial advisor, construction company, blue collar, white collar. We got you covered. Think of us as your local Google here in Tampa Bay, and that's why we set up the show 12 years ago now as a consumer advocate, helping you understand your buying decisions. We've got Alena Miles back on the program. She's international tax attorney. Her website, taxattorneylegal.com. We're going to talk with her a lot about FIRPTA. That's the foreign investment in real estate. You know, essentially when people are buying real estate, if they're overseas, if they're setting up bank accounts overseas, we're going to kind of investigate that. We've got a lot of Q&A. We're going to talk with her about that. Always enjoy having those conversations with attorneys here on the show. Speaking of attorneys, we got criminal defense attorney Anthony Rickman going to be back in studio as well. Criminal defense attorney, the Rickman Law Firm here coming up on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Quick shout out to our friend Lee over at Lee's Royal Services. He does a great job cleaning our real estate properties. He cleans residential, commercial properties here in Tampa Bay. Lee'sRoyalServices.com. Home and office cleaning right here in Tampa Bay. Lee'sRoyalServices.com. Make sure you let them know the real estate quarterback sent you. Take them up on special offers and incentives. Also in the headlines, Florida has held the #1 spot in higher education for 10 years in a row. Ron DeSantis was touting that on his X account. And it's really interesting. So talking a little bit about that here on the program. Florida DOGE, again, Florida DOGE doing a lot of good things here in Tampa Bay, finding a lot of excessive spending. Florida DOGE Task Force, just a quick rundown. If you look at Jacksonville, $75,000 hologram of the mayor, Donna Deegan, when you get off of the airport. So $75,000, I would consider that waste. $7.5 million for a 1 mile sidewalk project. Seems a little fishy. $1.9 million in grants to DEI focused arts groups. Pensacola, $150,000 a year to a management company that brings drag shows to the city's Singer Theater. $300,000. I mean, the list goes on and on. Alachua County, Orange County, Hillsborough County had a lot of waste, fraud, and abuse. There's also $279 million right here in Tampa Bay of excessive spending. You got $572,000 for unconscious bias training, $950,000 for county employee vehicle allowance. So these are all tax dollars that we all work very hard for our money that seemingly is being wasted. So yeah, we'll dive a little bit deeper into that into the next segment. But before we get into our conversation about international tax law with attorney Alena Miles here, we'll talk a little about our real estate listings. We have a new listing at 9914 Ala Vista Drive. This one's in Gibsonton, Florida. Beautiful property, $1 million listing, 3-bedroom, 3-bath, 1922 square feet. You got an elevated stilt home that's on the end of a quiet street. Large waterfront lot here. You have access to the Gulf of America. You have a beautiful boat dock with a covered boathouse there. Frontage on the water. Gorgeous property. Solar panels on the roof. What a great opportunity here at 9914 Ala Vista Drive, Gibsonton, Florida. Waterfront beauty. Part of our international luxury real estate offerings through the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. 118 Lakeshore Drive, another waterfront beauty right here in Tampa Bay. This one's on Lake Tarpon. You have 180-degree water views, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage, updated kitchen, 1,740 square feet, quarter-acre lot. Beautiful, another beautiful boat dock with a lift and jet ski lifts. Great opportunity to buy real estate right here in beautiful Tampa Bay. And you're just around the corner from a world-renowned golf course and home of the Valspar Championship there at Innisbrook. So you have a lot of good stuff happening there in Pinellas County. 118 Lakeshore Drive, East Palm Harbor. And also the other listing is 9914 Ala Vista Drive, Gibsonton. You can see all of our listings at PlatinumMVPTeam.kw.com.
And yeah, I'm racing my no saving our ass overseas.
Yeah, that's right. A shout out to all of our veterans, our troops out there, and everybody keeping us safe. Police, fire, it all goes in line with that. So appreciate that. All right, let's welcome in attorney Alena Miles. Welcome back in, Alena.
Thank
and
you.
Tell us a little bit more about your business.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me back. Yes, Attorney Legal PA is my tax law practice. It is located in Safety Harbor, Florida. But I am boasting 3 new additional locations.
Sweet.
By appointment only, serving Lakewood Ranch. I have an office in Lakewood Ranch, which serves Manatee and Sarasota by appointment only. Also Miami and Florida Keys, Key West. So I do help taxpayers with international tax matters and anything IRS related, whether it is something where people owe a lot of money to the IRS, receive penalty notices, or else.
Yeah, I like that. What is FIRPTA? Let's jump into that. What is FIRPTA?
Yeah, so FIRPTA is withholding tax, and generally speaking, it applies when a person who sells, let's say, residential house in Tampa Bay area, and the seller is non-resident. Now, it's not just applicable where, like, you would think, okay, so I don't have to deal with FIRPTA. Like, I don't know what FIRPTA is. FIRPTA is God knows somewhere. I don't know where. No. FIRPTA applies when the home, the real property, is sold in the U.S. So in my example, it's in Tampa Bay. And the seller is a non-resident, which means not a U.S. citizen, not a U.S. resident, a non-resident, somebody from another country that doesn't have that residency status in the U.S.
Okay. Yeah, and so they're selling real estate. What's the tax implications there? I guess maybe the next question people have.
Yeah, so tax implication is that there is withholding tax, FIRPTA, which is a general rule. There are a bunch of other rules, but general rule, it's 15% of the gross selling price that has to be withheld. And the logic behind that is how is IRS supposed to get that non-resident person accountable? They're going to leave the country. They're going to go somewhere. There is no way IRS can track that non-resident. Mm-hmm. So by charging that withholding tax, FIRPTA, on the front end is a way to make sure that whatever IRS needs to get, they get.
Okay, so when it's withheld, the title company would release that to the IRS directly? Is
exactly,
that,
and there are very strict guidelines and penalties and all that involved if they do not. So the important point to point out here is that ultimately the primary responsibility for that FIRPTA money is on the buyer. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't matter who the buyer is. The buyer could be you, the buyer could be me. But if I am the buyer, I'm ultimately responsible that the FIRPTA money goes to the IRS, even though it's not my money. It's the seller's money.
Yeah, it's the seller's proceeds.
Exactly. So it's tricky like that.
And
buyers do not understand that. It's very important to understand that. So it doesn't only impact the seller because money is basically out of the seller's pocket.
Right.
It primarily puts an impact on the buyer.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, hey, we're talking to attorney Alena Miles here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. I'm your host, Brandon Rimes. And Alena, I would venture to guess maybe 75%, 80% of realtors don't really understand that. They don't know why is it important for realtors to understand these things?
It's important because you have to be able to spot and recognize that as a service to a client. First of all, that you have a FIRPTA transaction, because ideally you want to plan for FIRPTA transaction 90 days in advance before the closing. Of course, it doesn't always happen like that, but that just demonstrates that you're a knowledgeable realtor, right? That you are taking care of your client. Also, your transaction might fall apart if you have FIRPTA. So if you don't understand that you have FIRPTA and then your transaction falls apart, that's just not good for anybody.
Yeah, it's a challenging situation. Can you give us an example of a transaction, maybe a success story that you've done recently involving FIRPTA? Or it's kind of similar also to a 1031 exchange. I don't know if you're getting into 1031 exchanges as well. Do you do those as well?
Yeah, so just those are two separate things.
Yep.
But with FIRPTA, basically, typically people come to me to help them on the back end. So like the ones that there are good ones that plan ahead and take, come within 90 days before the transaction closes. So my job is basically to educate and explain to realtors that heads up, this is FIRPTA, and these are the rules, and the rules and guidelines are strict. Okay, so everybody has to follow the IRS guidelines. Now, but ultimately, they do come to me on the back end when there are problems, because I'm an attorney, I'm a tax attorney, right? So people
Yep.
come to me with problems and issues. So basically, I do help them make sure that if the transaction wasn't done correctly, that is done correctly, IRS gets their money, and I do help them with fighting the penalty, because penalty on the buyer is huge. Mhm.
Yeah, I hear you. And can deals fall apart because of that, because of FIRPTA issues?
Correct.
Yeah.
Because not every buyer wants to get involved with the foreign seller.
Right.
Not every buyer wants to take on that responsibility. This is huge. So yeah.
And that has to be disclosed up front if it's a foreign seller?
Exactly. So the title company typically does the checklist and figures that out. But what people do not understand is that the seller has to be not a dual citizen. So if I have, let's pick on a country. Pick a country, Brendan.
Let's go with Canada.
Canada. Okay. So if you have a Canadian seller, but they're a U.S. citizen, FIRPTA doesn't apply.
Okay.
Because that person is U.S. citizen, okay?
Right.
FIRPTA applies when the Canadian person is just the Canadian person.
Okay. So,
Okay.
and that's part of the disclosures that we take as realtors. We have these disclosures that we'll ask them about, the plumbing, the electrical, the roof, the AC, some of the basic questions, and then it'll have a question: is the seller responsible or related to somehow a FIRPTA transaction? So that's where it would be disclosed.
Exactly.
And then the title company should pick that up, and then when they do their intake, and then they're going to kind of prepare the file that way.
Yep.
Now, can you talk about the 1031 exchanges too? Because I know it's kind of similar in a sense that you have certain things you have to do prior to going under contract and things like that. Is that kind of out of your lane?
Yeah,
or-
so it's to the point, but what I can I'm just going to briefly touch base on that. But
Yeah.
like what people call me for is they're looking for qualified intermediary.
Yes.
As an attorney, I'm not a qualified intermediary, and you're probably not going to find an attorney that serves that role, qualified intermediary. So there are companies that act in that capacity. Now, you also have to, like with 1031 exchange, the role of the tax attorney is to make sure that the transaction is structured correctly from the IRS, like the rules standpoint.
Yeah.
Because, okay, you find a qualified intermediary, you do a 1031 exchange, but in 2-3 years, you're going to get audited.
Mm-hmm.
And your transaction is going to be disallowed. And then you're going to have penalties. And then
Wow.
you're going to have interest. And then you're going to have to go to tax court if you want to fight it.
Yep.
So tax attorney's role would be either on the front end, where helping the taxpayer to structure it correctly, follow the rules, follow the guidelines. But ultimately, the hands cannot touch the money in 1031 exchange. In addition to all sorts of different guidelines and rules that you have to follow,
Right.
you cannot put your hands on the money.
Right.
The moment you put your hands on the money, 1031 is blown. So
Yeah.
that's like the important thing to understand with
Sure.
1031.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
As far as
Yeah, and there's certain rules you have to identify
Right.
your next property in a certain
Right.
amount of time. There's certain rules to follow. Any questions on that, reach out. We'd love to talk to you. 813-917-1894. If you want to talk to attorney Alena Miles, reach out 813-917-1894. That's our consumer hotline. And also consumerqb.com. You can submit an email form right there from the website, consumerqb.com. And we make sure we get right back to you before our head hits the pillow. Any introductions, consumer advocate ideas, questions you have about real estate, of course, finance, estate planning, tax planning, lots of different areas we cover here on the Consumer Quarterback Show daily at 4 o'clock drive time right here on 860 The Answer, 93.7 FM. And we have our weekend show on FM 102.5 The Bone. More coming up on Florida DOGE. We're going to touch base on Florida DOGE, as well as Florida's held the #1 spot in higher education for 10 years in a row. Get into that as well. And more questions and real life scenarios for for Alena here, attorney Alena Miles on the Consumer Quarterback Show, taxattorneylegal.com. Quick break, right back here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, talking more with our expert contributor here on the show. Today we're talking international tax law. I love it. Every day it's something different on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Thanks for tuning in. Follow us online at Brandon Rimes1 at CQB Show. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Rumble channel out there. We greatly appreciate you supporting the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Thanks for listening to my daddy's show. Please make sure to send him all of your real estate deals and subscribe to the Consumer Quarterback Show podcast on iTunes and Spotify, or check out our YouTube channel. Have a blessed day.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com.
Did you know that we buy houses cash? We can close quickly for a all-cash offer on your real estate properties, residential, commercial, even vacant land. We'll buy your property cash. No cleaning, no showings, and no hassles. You can even possibly stay in your home post-closing. Call Brandon at 813-917-1894. Submit the email at consumerqb.com or call 813-917-1894, consumerqb.com. We buy houses cash and fast. Attention business owners, did you know we have 100% financing options available? Our No Money Down program offers 100% financing for business owners. If you are currently leasing your commercial space, you can purchase real estate for no money down. Additionally, the program offers money for working capital, equipment, and business fixtures. You can even pay off current business debt. Reach out at 813-917-1894. Call or text 813-917-1894. brimes at kw.com. And that is our 100% financing, no money down program for business owners. We would love to help you buying, selling, or investing in real estate. 813-917-1894. brimes at kw.com. Ours Creole Smokehouse, the official Pinellas County restaurant partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Say hello to Doug Clark, chef and owner Doug Clark, 310 East Tarpon Avenue, Tarpon Springs, ourscreole.com. Ours Creole Smokehouse, 310 East Tarpon Avenue, Tarpon Springs, ourscreole.com. Excellent food, wonderful ambiance. Say hello to our friend Doug Clark. If you're facing an insurance claim, don't just trust the insurance company to have your best interests at heart. This is Brandon Rimes, Consumer Quarterback Show. Reach out to rightwaypa.com, our friend Derek Coble at rightwaypa.com. Looking to level up your sales game? With 20 plus years of coaching experience spanning across several industries, Lindsay Rimes helps everyone from entry-level reps to seasoned business owners boost sales, improve work-life balance, and retain top talent with customized options catered to personal, group, or corporate settings. Brandon and Lindsay Rimes offer training on negotiation strategy, business development, and more. Let's grow your business together. Call 813-917-1894. That's 813-917-1894. Submit an email at consumerqb.com.
You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rimes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
Welcome back. Thanks for hanging out with us here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Greatly appreciate you spending some time with us here. We've got attorney Alena Miles in studio with us. Attorney Legal PA, taxattorneylegal.com. All of our contributors are found as well at consumerqb.com. We're going to talk more about these foreign international real estate deals, who chooses title escrow, and also outbound international deals relating to businesses, short-term rentals, bank accounts as well. Coming up here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, 3308 Landing Place in Palm Harbor, another one of our favorite listings. This is a gorgeous property, single-family home in Cobb's Landing. Compliments of Aaron from the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. We've got 3-bedroom plus an office, 3.5 bath, 2-car garage, 3,000 square feet, over a third of an acre lot, and you have a private marina with boat slips and a ramp onto Lake Tarpon, gated tennis and basketball courts, waterfront park, playground, scenic walking trails. 3308 Landing Place, Palm Harbor, Florida. Another one of our beautiful listings from the Platinum MVP team. All right, 3222. That's Jackson Drive, Holiday, Florida. Just hit the market. Great opportunity for a 2-2. This is an affordable home, 1,126 square feet, beautifully furnished and lakefront in Holiday. Close to, you're on multiple lakes here, 2 lakes, Lake Connolly, Lake Nash, a waterfront property, another beautiful home. No HOA, no CDD. A lot of people are moving away from those. There's actually legislation in the state of Florida trying to eliminate a lot of the HOAs, or particularly getting rid of some of them. Close to US 19. Great opportunity here. Affordable home, scenic views. 3222 Jackson Drive, Holiday, Florida. You can see all of our listings at PlatinumMVPTeam.kw.com.
Only in America, dreaming in red, white, and blue.
All right, so we're talking with international tax attorney Alena Miles here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, and kind of a crossover too, Alena, with tax law and kind of the functions of a CPA as well. Public accounting, a lot of these dealing with dollars going in, dollars going out. So outbound, when we think about outbound international deals, you think about foreign businesses, short-term rentals, and bank accounts. Tell me a little more about those.
Yeah, so let me explain the word outbound. When I say outbound international, I mean U.S. citizen, U.S. resident, or U.S. tax resident, okay? So it's not, in this case, it's not a foreign person. It's me or you, Brendan, everybody else here. So as for outbound purposes, as a resident or citizen, you're taxed on worldwide income.
Okay.
Let's pick a country, Brendan. Pick one.
So I picked Canada last time because they're number 1 buyers of Florida real estate. Number 2 buyer of Florida real estate. I'm trying to remember. I want to say was one of the Central American countries. Let's go with Mexico.
Okay, so basically, let's say a dual citizen of U.S. and citizen of Mexico visits Mexico because let's say they have a family there and they have bank accounts in Mexico. All right, now we're getting into the rules of outbound international. Does this Mexican dual citizen, in my example, have to report foreign bank accounts? Absolutely, if the balance in those bank accounts exceeds a certain number during the year, okay? So there are rules which you have to look at. If it's only a couple of dollars, probably not, but you do have to look at the full scope of what they have in Mexico in terms of bank accounts. And if that person never reported bank accounts, and they should have, that's where it becomes tricky. That's where they come and look for a tax attorney to get compliant with the U.S. tax laws. Yeah,
that's important. TaxAttorneyLegal.com, TaxAttorneyLegal.com. Alena Miles here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. So I do have the printout from the international real estate sales. So who's buying from what country of origin and where are they buying? So that goes really well with this. So this is international real estate transactions in the United States. The number 1 country buying in America, China, number 1. China, number 1, 15%, but closely behind by 1 percentage point, Canada, number 2. Coming in at number 3 is Mexico. Number 6 is India. And then number 4 is the United Kingdom with about $2 billion a year. And this is for 2025, so far this year. Now, top destinations, that's the next question. Where are they buying? Florida, California, Texas, New York, Arizona. Those are your top 5. So we got about a minute left. I wanted to turn it back over to you. What else do we need to know? What other thoughts should we be thinking when it comes to foreign investments, international taxes, and your business, Alena?
Yeah, so basically, when we say international tax, it's not somewhere far away, you don't know where, God knows where. No, international tax is triggered here. Closer to home than you think. So if it's a U.S. citizen, U.S. resident, U.S. tax resident that has foreign bank accounts or foreign Airbnb, let's say in Mexico in our example, or foreign business that they have never disclosed and never reported, definitely consulting with the professional such as myself, tax attorney, is recommended because you do want to be compliant with the U.S. tax laws. And let's say you have a green card, and I'm not an immigration attorney, but being a green card holder, you want to comply with all the U.S. laws, including the tax laws. So that would be one of the great examples.
All right, good job. Check her out online, TaxAttorneyLegal.com. We're going to have her back on in just a few weeks as well. TaxAttorneyLegal.com. Check her out online. Alena Miles, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
All right, coming up next, Anthony Rickman talking about new laws that will take effect just took effect October 1st. So coming up more with criminal defense attorney Anthony Rickman on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Hey, I'm Ken Shamrock, and you're here with Consumer Quarterback Show. And I say, Brandon Rhymes, knock out your competition.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com. You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-917-1894.
All right, welcome back. Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show. Criminal defense attorney Anthony Rickman joining us in studio now, the rickmanlawfirm.com. We're going to talk about new laws that just took effect October 1st. Open carry, one of those laws as well. More from Anthony coming up here in just a moment. Also, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, Florida has held the #1 spot in higher education for 10 years in a row. And, really cool stats here when you think about the breakdown of what's going on with education in Florida. You look at the cost. And then more than 3/4 of Florida students graduate loan-free, and we rank #1 in the country for 4-year graduation rates. So with 7 Florida public institutions in the top 100 public universities nationwide, they've proven that academic achievement does not have to break the bank, and that's great for Florida. Compare that to the Northeast with what we see with the indoctrinations happening in the Northeast. I mean, it's just amazing what's happening here in Florida. And, man, a lot of cool stuff happening here. In Tampa Bay also, man, Florida DOGE, Blaise Ignolia found $279 million of your hard-earned tax dollars that is being overspent, wasteful spending. Interesting, too. Yeah, if you look at Florida DOGE, the task force there, throughout the state of Florida. Here's St. Petersburg, too. St. Petersburg, $258,000 from city utility and EMS funds to provide support for Pride events. Why do we need support for Pride? Why do we need to have these events going on in the first place? $307,000 on a climate application plan to drive Green New Deal initiatives. Again, that's $300. So combined, that's over $500, over $500,000 of wasteful spending as well. Hillsborough County, again, wasteful spending. Pinellas County, $75,000 every year to sponsor an annual Pride Festival. Hey, I'm proud to be a nuclear father. That's what I'm proud of. I'm not. When did it become cool to be proud of your sexual orientation? It's like we got to change this stuff. It's amazing, and we're on the right track. You also have U.S. economy grew at a 3.8% rate in the second quarter. That's significantly higher than previous estimates were. So we'll get into that. We'll talk more about that with Anthony Rickman coming up here on some of these new laws that are taking effect. All right, we got 103 Brigadoon Drive, Clearwater. We have a Pinellas County beautiful property here, 3-bedroom, 3-bath, 1,536 square feet. It's a 3-story residence with no rear neighbors. You got a low HOA there as well. Community pool, sparkling community pool, pet-friendly community here, and you're only about 8 miles from the beach here in Clearwater, Florida. 103 Brigadoon Drive, one of our hot listings from the Platinum MVP team. All right, 9594 Southeast Merricamp Road. This is a commercial property. You're buying the land, you're buying the building, 5,725 square feet, retail investment opportunity into a thriving hardware store, 9594 Southeast Merricamp Road in Ocala, Florida. Great opportunity to buy real estate right here in beautiful Tampa Bay. You can see all of our listings at PlatinumMVPteam.kw.com.
He ain't prejudiced, he's just made in America.
All right, Anthony Rickman, welcome back in, sir.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, what's new? You got a lot of new laws taking effect?
Yeah, it's weird. It's a busy time of the year, right? It's like New Year's for lawyers because all of the laws go into effect in October.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, we have a really big court ruling that talks about open carry.
Yeah.
So really, it's an interesting time for us now, seeing transition to some different laws, and obviously for the public, understanding and knowing what they can and can't do now, and what they can be charged with. One of the biggest things is DUI now. I mean, it's people have really talked about in the past. Do I refuse? Do I blow? What do I do?
Oh yeah.
Well, now in the state of Florida, if you refuse, it's a misdemeanor.
Wow.
That never used to be the case unless it was a second refusal.
Yep.
So traditionally, prior to October 1st this year, a first refusal. So you get pulled over. You haven't been drinking. You're not impaired. Maybe you had one beer. It's not a crime to have one beer and drive your car.
Right.
It's not a crime to have two beers. It's a crime to drive while under the influence of alcohol to the extent your normal faculties are impaired.
Right.
So you do well. You feel you're not drunk, and the law enforcement said, well, we still think you're drunk.
Yep.
Put you in handcuffs, take you to our station, we're going to have you blow. And you refuse.
Yep.
On your first refusal in the state of Florida, it was not a crime, but now it is.
Punishable of 60 days.
60 days,
Yep.
6 months probation. So what the problem you have is that the state's going to do now is going to say, well, you know what? Maybe you're not guilty of DUI. Maybe we can't prove impairment. But what we can prove is that you refused. And we're going to hold this refusal over your head now.
Yeah.
Even though we can't prove you DUI, you look great on video.
Yeah.
You could still go to jail
Wow.
for 60 days for the refusal alone on a first refusal.
Yeah.
Now, a second or subsequent refusal, you did it once, you do it again. Then you're looking at an 18-month suspension of your license, and you're looking at much more jail time potentially.
Wow.
So that first refusal, not only do you have the possibility of going to jail for 60 days, but you're also going to lose your license for 1 year. That's
Yeah.
always been in effect. But now they add that extra caveat. If you refuse, you're going to go to jail. And really, they're doing it to encourage people by the law to submit the breath test. And one of the things people say, I have it all the time, like, well, I asked for my lawyer. I invoke my right to remain silent.
Yes.
So how can you charge me with a refusal if all I'm doing is invoking my right to remain silent?
Right.
Under the administrative code here in Florida and under the case law, your right to remain silent, your right to an attorney, has nothing to do with your refusal. So you can't say, hey, I'm not going to give a breath test because my lawyer said so, or because I want to invoke my right to remain silent. You could still get charged.
Yeah.
And the state can still prosecute you, even though you're saying, I'm invoking my right to remain silent.
Let me ask you about one in New York. Have you seen this one? This one's been in the news lately too. This is the copy of the driver's license of I guess a person that got into an accident. No name given. New York State. It says no name given commercial driver's license. We've seen these videos of these losers that are illegals. They come in the country legal. They go to a sanctuary city district and they get a license, and now they're out there working. And they're killing people. They're running right in the back of people. They don't know how to read the road signs. What's going on there? That's crazy.
That's New York. I mean, what do you think? What do you expect was going to happen if the next guy gets elected, Mandani gets elected mayor?
Yeah.
I mean, that's where you see the distinction between Florida and New York. And you look at another law, the completely opposite to what New York's doing. Florida just criminalized. And one of the new laws we'll talk about right now is that if you alter your license plate, you alter your license tag, it's now a misdemeanor. Yeah. So people are going through the tag readers on the interstate trying to prevent SunPass from being read. You get charged with a crime now in the state of Florida. That's really contrary to what we see here in New York.
Yeah, it is.
You know, and not only that, the no-name license, it creates a danger. Yeah. I mean, how you people are driving on the road and not having to give a name.
It's so
not
crazy.
having your name and driver's license.
It's dystopian. It's literally the Orwellian, like 1984. This was a post here from U.S. Immigration in Florida. 400 illegal aliens arrested in under 5 days through our 287G program at Governor Ron DeSantis, and then they tagged the Florida sheriffs. Local law enforcement are saving American lives and taking these worst off the streets. And these are pedophiles, domestic abusers, drunk drivers, and more detained. Yeah, look, I mean, I think crime goes across board. We have enough crime in our country that our citizens are committing. Yeah. We don't need anyone else coming in our country to commit more crimes. Yeah. I mean, so at the end of the day, we see the rates of deportation have slowed down because a lot of people have been kicked out. Yeah. And then people are trying to get back in. So, you know, when you talk about the illegal situation, it really has put a hamstring on. It's really inundated the courts to the extent where we're having a lot more cases and a lot more people committing crimes. Right. Yeah. Just what we needed, more backups in the courts. We're talking with Anthony Rickman, criminal defense attorney here in Tampa Bay, the RickmanLawFirm.com, the RickmanLawFirm.com here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. I'm your host, Brandon Rimes, and we talk about consumer advocacy, things happening in the community, current events, and also ways that we can help save you time and money when it comes to your real estate, your mortgage advice, title insurances, all those different decisions that you're making. So please support the local economy by supporting the Consumer Quarterback Show at consumerqb.com. What other laws are, open carry is one that's really big right now. Anthony, what's your thoughts around that one? Yeah, so open carry, look, people didn't realize that Florida is actually an outlier. Most states who have the ability to carry firearms allow them to be carried open. Florida was one of 3 or 4 states who didn't allow open carry. Yep. And eventually one of our courts said here locally that
the ban on open carry is unconstitutional.
Yeah.
And really they based that on Supreme Court ruling that talks about where the open carry came from, where your right to carry a firearm came from. Basically our founders who wanted people to have the ability to carry their firearms in an open and plain manner. And really when you look at the rationale, people have guns to, number one, protect themselves, but number two, to deter people from committing crimes against them.
Right.
And one of the things the courts have said is that, well, if you have a firearm in your pocket, there's no real deterrent effect. It actually creates bigger issues.
Got it.
If you're going to fight somebody, I want to know if he's carrying a gun.
Right.
Right. I want to make, if I'm bringing a gun to a fist fight, I got to make sure either I'm going to get my gun or walk away. But now with the open carry law, really you can see what a person is carrying and if they're carrying. Yeah. And the rationale is that maybe it potentially prevents crimes from happening because you're not going to mess with a guy walking around with his legally carried AR-15 or his 45 on his hip, which you can now do in the state of Florida.
Unbelievable.
So now we have a process where people can actually carry their guns in an open manner, which is what the founders really created a Second Amendment
for.
Well,
that's interesting, too. You got the First Amendment, which is free speech, and then the Second Amendment is I got a gun, and I'm going to protect my free speech. Yeah. And then did you see the case over in England or what was it, the UK, where the guy had posted a social media meme, and it was something, they're kind of going back and forth like we do all the time online, Americans, I'm saying. People go back and forth about different issues, things like that. And the guy, literally he's like this old British guy with the fake wig on, and he's got the whole get up on. And he sentenced him, I think it was 5 years in jail for posting something on social media.
Yeah, and look, that's where we have to be careful as a country. I mean, look, we've had a lot of issues with the horrible thing that happened to Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
And then, people are getting, both sides are saying really bad and nasty things, mostly from the left, are saying really bad and nasty things. But we have to be careful we don't turn into Europe. We don't turn into those countries and ban people from saying stupid and bad things.
Yep.
Okay. And, as much as I support some of the things that happen in our government, for the government to come out and say, we're going to prosecute hate speech potentially.
Right.
Or say those things we heard after the Charlie Kirk assassination.
Yep.
That's really not where our country should be going.
Yeah.
And one of the things Charlie Kirk talked about was having open dialogue.
That's right.
And being able to say things even if it's stupid.
Yep.
Now, you can't yell fire in a crowded building.
Yeah.
You can't, in a crowded theater, you can't do certain things. There are regulations on speech. But to come out and say we're going to ban people from saying stupid things or prosecute people for saying stupid things, that's not what our law in this country stands for.
Yeah.
Now, if ABC or if a company wants to take action against a private entity who's employed by that company because they said a lie about MAGA, if they said a stupid thing, then that private company can do whatever they want. They're a private company, and if this employee is costing me money, they're costing me clicks, they're costing me a viewing base because they said stupid things, or they're going to get me sued by the president, then you can fire them.
Yeah.
But what you shouldn't be able to do is, as legislators, as people in our government, and say, we're going to prosecute you criminally.
Yeah.
We're going to come after you for free speech.
For saying something.
There's a distinction.
Yeah, absolutely. So, there's no such thing as hate speech in a way. I mean, that's what Kirk was saying too. And going back to that, because you mentioned, I think you referenced Jimmy Kimmel there, when you go back to that, it was kind of interesting. I was listening to Jack Poso on the Charlie Kirk show. They're doing a great job of continuing, Charlie's legacy and his mission, Turning Point USA, Erica, everybody. And Jack said, these late night talk show hosts, they're not there to make money. They're not there to get ratings. They're there simply to spread this propaganda of the left, and it makes a lot of sense too.
Without debate, and that's the thing that there's no debate when you have a guy giving a 15-minute monologue every night, saying something that's not true. I mean, there has to be a check on it. That check has to be through the corporations. It has to be through ABC, through Disney, whoever.
Or a lawsuit, right?
Or a law, and that's the next check. If the company is going to check him, then the courts can check him on saying false, defamatory, libelous things. But there has to be a break. We can't turn into Europe where, like you talked about, prosecuting people for posting or saying stupid things.
Like Clinton did. The Clinton administration went after that guy, and then he had to defend himself, and he went through all this rigmarole, spent a lot of money with defense attorneys. Remember that one? The meme case? It was crazy.
Well, the other thing is, with this open carry, where is the line going to be drawn now? Because there's something called aggravated assault. Okay. An aggravated assault, if you and I get in a fight and I make a threat to you, you feel that I can carry out that threat, and I have the apparent ability to actually do it. Now, let's say we're walking down the street, I got an open carry, and you and I get in a fight. Because you're an Eagles fan. Exactly. And I'm walking around with a gun, and I'm a Bucks fan. Okay. And we get in an argument. And the Eagles fan cries, because that's what they usually do. They're going to go cry to the first police officer, say, he threatened me, and he has a gun. is that aggravated assault.
Oh, boy. That could escalate.
So if you're carrying that gun in an open manner, be careful.
Well, that's what
Be
Thomas
smart.
King said. Thomas King is our Florida Firearms Academy. He's our expert. He says, number one, look, you're going to draw the bad guy to you first. If he's going to rob the bank or rob whatever, he's going to shoot you first. Oh, there's a guy with a gun. Let me take him out. Secondly, you're opening yourself up for lawsuits. Somebody that's a money grabber, somebody that's, hey, these people that go around sue people for money, that you're going to have that because they're going to say, oh, look at this guy. He threatened me, blah, blah, blah. Just an example of what you just said. And then, there's really no need to open carry it like that. You can still have it under your shirt. So anyways, he went through a couple more, but that's the main gist of it. Don't open carry.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's no reason to be a tough guy.
Yeah.
I mean, tough guys walking around looking for trouble are going to find it.
Yep.
And they're going to want to call me.
That's right.
I mean, at the end of the day,
Yeah.
because really that's what happens. So be smart with whatever you do. You know, if you're going to carry openly, do it responsibly to the extent where someone can't make a complaint against you.
Right.
So don't give someone a reason to be the victim.
Yeah.
Because I see it every day. People wanting a reason to be the victim. And unfortunately, victims in the state of Florida have rights, and they have a lot more, fortunately or unfortunately, right?
Yeah.
In a case where there's a wrongful accusation.
Yeah.
That's the unfortunate circumstance. Because I deal with cases all the time like that.
Give me a teaser of what we're going to talk about next. One of the next laws.
Yeah, look, there's
We're gonna
different
take a quick
laws that
break.
can vet. We have a DUI manslaughter sentences increased. We also have a circumstance where if you lie about your age and you're underage, you can't use that. The person who's maybe engaged in activity with you can't use that as a defense.
Got it. Okay, we're going to talk about those stories and more coming up here. Consumer Quarterback Show. Quick break, right back. Anthony Rickman in studio with us. Follow us online. We'd love to connect with you at Brandon Rimes 1 at CQB Show. Subscribe to the show. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Hey, this is Grant Cardone, and you're listening to Consumer Quarterback Show, hosted by my friend Brandon Rimes. Do not touch that dial. I'll come right to the radio and grab your throat.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com.
Tired of long lines at the airport? Check out Tampa Bay's premier private jet source. I'm Brandon Rimes for Will Smith Aviation, aircraft management, acquisition and sales, luxury jet escapes and packages. Check them out online, willsmithaviation.com. That's willsmithaviation.com, or call the show. I'll put you right in touch directly with Captain Will Smith. AmericaFirstPatriotStore.com for all of your non-woke American-made products. American values, Christian, conservative American values. Say hello to my business partner, Jim McCune at AmericaFirstPatriotStore.com. DavidReynoldsJewelryandCoin.com. Say hello to Shane Socash, longtime friend of the Consumer Quarterback Show, 4009 Central Avenue, St. Petersburg, online at DavidReynoldsJewelryandCoin.com for all of your precious metals and jewelry design. DavidReynoldsJewelryandCoin.com. Hey, Brandon Rimes here for Jason Coble, owner of Coble Law. Coble Law has been handling injury cases in Tampa for the past 14 years and has a specialized approach focused on limiting client cost and maximizing client profit. TampaWorkCompLaw.com. TampaWorkCompLaw.com. Jason Coble, longtime friend of the Consumer Quarterback Show, personal injury law, and work comp law. Hey, Brandon Rimes here for our friends at TargetSurveying.net for all of your surveying needs. Land surveying firm providing services for real estate since 1992, and they are statewide. Check them out online, TargetSurveying.net. That's TargetSurveying.net. Selling commercial, vacant land, or residential properties? Don't leave money on the table. List with the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. I'm Brandon Rimes. You can reach me at 813-917-1894. Call or text 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com. That's consumerqb, like quarterback.com. Buying, selling, investing, or refinancing? We would love to talk to you. Thank you so much and have a blessed day.
You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rimes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, we're back in studio here with Anthony Rickman, criminal defense attorney. I'm your host, Brandon Rimes, top real estate team here in Tampa Bay. Getting some big deals under contract. God's good, man. We have been putting deals under contract. We listed a $2 million deal already under contract within like 3 days out in Seffner. Great opportunity there. So we're getting deals done. People that are complaining about the market, it's not the market, it's the marketing in a lot of cases. So if you're buying, selling, investing, we would love to talk to you. Call us on the hotline. We can get right back to you and help you with your properties. 10413 Main Street, Thonotosassa. This is a opportunity to buy vacant land. We've got 3.63 acres of vacant land. The zoning here is PD. You got commercial in Thonotosassa. You're right across the street from a busy gas station. 10413 Main Street, Thonotosassa, Florida. Great opportunity to buy real estate right here in beautiful Tampa Bay. And you can see all of our listings. And if you're buying, selling, investing, or refinancing, check us out at consumerqb.com. And our real estate site is platinummvpteam.kw.com.
Traveling in a small town, see how far you make it there.
All right, Anthony, let's finish up strong here with some of our updates on these laws.
A lot of sex going on. A lot of sexually related laws, right? Our legislature has been really big in protecting children and really big in strengthening the prosecution and the ability to prosecute people for sexual-related offenses. One of the things that the legislature did here is that they increased the crime for cyber sexual harassment. So if you're involved in, extortion, I have pictures of somebody that are inappropriate,
right?
And you try saying, "Hey, I'll buy those off you," or "I'm going to use that for financial or pecuniary gain." It's a felony now. So if you're going to try to sexually harass somebody or cyber harass them online, saying I have photos, videos, and it's for financial gain, it makes it a felony.
Nice.
In the state of Florida.
Good.
And that protects victims. Protects people who have been engaged.
Yeah, it's terrible. Like that. Kids are killing themselves over that. There was one in Eastlake not long ago. Yeah.
So, and out of that same vein, what the legislature also did, it codified the inability of defense attorneys like me to raise the defense in a case of age. So, let's say you're out in a bar, and somebody meets somebody, shows them a fake ID.
She lies on their age.
She lies about her age.
Yep.
And you take her home or him home, and you think that person is of age.
Yep.
And they're not.
Okay.
You cannot defend yourself on that in court. It seems on its face, it seems unfair. I mean, at the end of the day, this person is committing a fraud. Essentially, they're going into a restaurant. They're in an 18 and up, or sometimes even a 21 and up bar or restaurant. And,
right.
And they're lying about their age, and someone would not have been engaged in that activity with them,
right? Had
they known.
How do you prove that? You got to get a screenshot of the card.
It doesn't matter, even if they do have it under this law. The way the law reads now, even if they lie about their age, they show you a fake ID. It is a strict liability crime.
Yeah. And
what that means is if you're over the age of 18 and you engage in that type of conduct with someone under the age of 18, you're strictly liable. Now, there's certain caveats, Romeo and Juliet laws, things like that to protect it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, even if that person you're with lies about their age, you can still face second-degree felony, sex offenses, which could make you a registered sex offender for the rest of your life.
Wow.
So, how do you protect yourself? I mean, it's at this point in time, other than being smart and, like we talked about earlier, don't do stupid things.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's still tough to defend against cases like that when you can't raise a legal defense by law.
Huh.
And we'll see how the courts really handle that as the law progresses, and if people try to use that defense and they're hamstrung by that defense. We talked about DUIs. The other thing is that if you have a prior DUI, now a lot of people out there get DUIs, college age, doesn't matter how old it was, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, or 2 years ago. If you get in a DUI and then you get in an accident where even if all you have to be is the slightest cause, if you caused or contributed to the crash and the person in the other vehicle dies, DUI manslaughter, it is now a 30-year potential sentence.
Wow. With
the bottom of the guidelines being somewhere around 12 years. So if you have a prior DUI, that law is now increased. It was a second-degree felony. Now it's a first-degree felony. So any prior DUI, no matter how old it was, if you get in that car and you are involved in causing or contributing to causing that crash, and somebody dies, you're looking at 30 years in prison.
Yeah.
So again, it has to be, people have to be smart when they get behind the wheel.
Yeah.
If you have anything to drink,
that's why
be smart.
That's why you see these cases where the perpetrators just run. They'll run from the police at all costs. They'll jump out of the car. They'll try to run through.
Well, and that's the last law. Way to segue it. Fleeing to elude. The penalties increased on that too.
Did it?
So if you try to get pulled over by law enforcement and you try to leave and try to avoid getting pulled over, you're going to face harsher penalties now in the state of Florida.
Wow, so that's another one, because they're at the end of the rope. They're like, hey, it's either I try to get away or I'm going straight to jail. They know what the ramifications are.
Yep.
they're not going to do it. All right, Anthony Rickman, thanks for coming in. RickmanLawFirm.com. Check him out online, the RickmanLawFirm.com. Hey, another great show. We had two attorneys on the show today. We had international tax law attorney Alena Miles talking about those different types of topics there, the FERPTA. And thank you for tuning into the show, supporting the show. We want you to please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. Do something kind for one another. Be a force for good in the community. And thanks for supporting the Consumer Quarterback Show, ConsumerQB.com.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rimes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Call Brandon Rimes at 813-917-1894. That's 813-917-1894. Online at ConsumerQB.com. And join us next time for the Consumer Quarterback Show.